Okay, now we're going to move on to the element of art called shapes and forms. A shape is 2D. It is flat. It can only be held. It cannot be held. It can only be drawn. A form is 3D. It can be held. It's the actual object. You can touch it. You can feel it. You can grab hold of it. It can also be drawn, but a shape can only be drawn. Okay? So shape and form, that's the difference. So we're going to learn how to draw some forms. You have to start out with shapes to make those forms. So our first form we're going to do is a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism is basically a box or a cube, depending on the size of it. So a rectangular prism is a box. We need your lightest pencil to draw with, which would be your 4H. Always start with your lightest pencil. I'm going to have to draw darker so you can see it, but you use your lightest pencil. Okay. So step 1 is to draw a box, a rectangle, or a square. A square counts as a rectangle for this. So this first one, I think, now make sure you leave enough space. You write your notes off to the left, and then we're going to draw over here to the right. So this rectangle is going to go vertically. I'm going to draw a rectangle that goes vertical. I'm going to leave enough room because I want to be able to see the top and the side. So leave enough room to be able to see the top and the side. Step 2 is to draw 3 diagonal lines. This is if you can see the top and side or bottom and side. So my 3 diagonal lines, as I see the top and the right side, are going to go up and to the right off of the 2 top corners, and they need to be about the same length and about the same direction, and off of this bottom right corner. The 2 top corners and the 2 right corners, because I'm going to see the top and the right side, so I go off of those. And I go up and to the right because that's the direction that I can see. Up, top, and right. Up and right. Okay? Now step 3, I'm going to draw a vertical and horizontal line. So my vertical line goes back here. If I have my 2 diagonals there about the same length, it should look fairly parallel. And my horizontal line goes back here to connect these two. And again, if I got these the same length, then this is going to be the same. Nice and parallel. And there is my first rectangular prism. Step 4 is to shade. And you can use any kind of technique that you want, depending on what you're creating when you're shading. But I'm going to use the side for this first one, and I want you to also. So you're going to take we're going to have the light come from above left. So the light's going to come from the above left. So the top is going to be my lightest. So I'm going to grab one of my light values. So I need my 2H or my 4H, one of those two. I'm going to go with my 4H. I lay it on its side, and I neatly shade in the top. So that's the lightest. So that was either a 2H or a 4H. Oops, can't do that. Sorry. 2H or 4H. Those are my lightest. Now, the light's coming from above left. So my front here is still closer to the light than this one. So this one's going to be a little bit darker than that one. So I'm going to do my HB on that one. Again, I'm laying it on its side. Be nice and neat on the edges. And if I drew it light enough, my pencil lines should disappear. I can turn my paper to whatever direction I need to get a nice, neat edge. So that was my HB. And my darkest is going to go over here, but I don't want to use a 6B because a 6B is going to be too dark. So either a 2B or a 4B will work, as long as it's darker. Again, lay your pencil on your side because we're doing this broad stroke right now. Don't go real dark because we still have to do the shadow. Some nice, neat edges. And hopefully your pencil lines disappear. So that is either a 2B or a 4B. Now I can go to my 6B to get the shadow. So the shadow, the light's coming from this direction, so the shadow will come off of the bottom here a little bit and out this direction off of this corner and this direction off this corner, so horizontal basically. And it's going to hit kind of this angle right here or that edge, so it's going to go down like this. Now, the shadow is going to be darker closer to the box so you can see the difference. And then you can lighten it a little bit as you get farther away, depending on what time of day it is or what kind of lighting you have, because it's probably not all consistent, and it's darker under here. So you just kind of keep layering it until you get it to the dark value that you want, if it's not dark enough compared to the rest of it. So it goes a little, has a little bit of a shadow under here to make it look like it sits on a table or something, and it comes out across this way, comes off of the bottom right corner over here and off to the right, and then a diagonal line right here to match the angle of this box, top of the box. So there's my first shadow, my first rectangular prism, and that shadow was my 6B. Okay, we're going to do another rectangle. Again, go back to your lightest pencil. I'm going to go back to my HB to draw. I'm going to draw a rectangle. My rectangle this time is going to be laying on its side. And this time we're going to see the top and the left side. So my diagonals are going to go off the top and the left. And they're all going to go the same direction, about the same length. Make them a little longer this time. Draw lightly so that you can have those lines disappear. Okay. Now I draw my vertical line and my horizontal line. Now I'm ready to shade. This time I'm going to do hatching and cross hatching for shading. My light is still coming from the top left, so the top will be my lightest, so I'm going to keep my lines fairly straight, spread out. This left side is going to be in between my next darker value, so I'm going to get them a little bit closer. This front side is going to be even closer still, so they're going to be pretty much on top of each other. Now, do I always have to do diagonal lines? No, I can always change it. Now my shadow, my light's still coming from the above left, so my shadow is going to come out in front of here, go across there. Now, it's going to come out from behind here. I'm going to have a little bit of an edge sticking out here, and then it's going to go across this way. And I'm going to leave this little line hanging out here because I drew it light enough that you won't be able to tell later on. And for my shadow, I'm going to do cross hatching. Now right now you can't see much of a difference until I do my cross hatching, so I go the other way. My lines don't have to be perfectly spaced, they're just kind of spread out close together. If they overlap some, oh well. So there's my second rectangular prism. Now this time we're going to draw a cube. So draw a square. Okay. This time I want to see the right side and the bottom. No, I don't want to do the bottom because that would be if it was floating in the air. We're not going to do that this time. We're just going to see the right side on this one this time. So in order to do that, I only need two diagonals off of the right side. And the top one's going to come down, and the bottom one's going to go up, and then I can draw my vertical line. So my cube, I'm only going to see the right side. I could also do that on a rectangular prism if I wanted. It would be the same idea, just a rectangle in there somehow. Either a vertical one or a horizontal one, wouldn't matter. Okay, now I'm ready to shade. My light is still coming from the above left, so this front is going to be lighter than this right side. This time I want to do scumble to shade this, so I'm going to do kind of a circle, just kind of fill it in some, give it a different texture. I don't want it real heavy because this is my lighter side. Over here, I want to go darker, but again, I don't want to go real dark because I still have to go darker for my shadow. My shadow, that didn't stay consistent, did it? That got a little light over there. Okay, now my shadow. I already went pretty dark, so let's see here. My shadow is going to come down here, across this way, off of this corner, and down this way. So now my scumble has to be really tight little circles overlapped. Basically filling it in solid to make it different than the other value I have there. All the way down below, I'm still making little circles. Okay, so that's with scumble. You can see the different textures starting to occur. You've got nice smooth texture, kind of almost like a shiny look to it here, and kind of like a rougher texture on this one. Okay. Now, next box rectangular prism we're going to draw is where you see the front and top. So we're going to draw a rectangular prism. Draw a rectangle. Now if I see the top, then I only need two diagonal lines. Off the top line, they're going to kind of narrow as it goes back. So this one goes this direction, kind of up and to the right, and then off the right corner it goes up and to the left, because it's got to get skinnier in the back. Because if we remember from space, Things get smaller as they go back, and then a horizontal line in the back here. So that's if I'm looking at it head on, and I can see the top. And on this one, we'll do scumble again, I think. So on the top here, just a few little circles, not very many. And on the front will be my medium. And then I need to do my shadow. Now this one, it doesn't matter which way the light's coming from, because that's still going to be, as long as it's coming from above, because this is lighter than that. So we can flip this around. So we're going to have a little bit off the front here, and coming off the side over here, like that. And this is scumble still, so a bunch of little tight circles, almost solid. Just kind of depends on what texture you're trying to create as to what you're going to be doing. Okay? And if the light was up, switched around after you drew this, then this would be the medium side, and this would be the darker side. The shadow's still going to be your darkest. And again, you could always switch these around if you need the light coming the other way. And same with these. You could switch them around. Okay? All right, so that is rectangular prisms drawn from different angles. We didn't do any that you see the bottoms to, but more than likely for your still life, you won't see that.